All right, so today we're going to be diving into something I think we all wonder about sometimes.
Hmm.
How many calories should we actually be eating every day?
Yeah, it's something we get asked all the time.
Right, and it gets kind of complicated.
It really
It's
does.
not like there's just like one chart we can look at.
Right.
So today we're going to be solving this personalized calorie puzzle, right?
Exactly.
We'll uncover the factors that influence your calorie needs, and I bet you'll learn some things along the way.
I think so too.
So, first off, what even is a calorie?
Well, a calorie is basically just a unit of energy
Okay.
that we find in food, and it's the fuel that powers all of your bodily functions.
So it's like gas for our car.
Yeah, that's a great analogy.
If we fill up with more than we burn,
Right.
then it gets stored away as, well, extra weight.
Exactly.
But if we're using more energy than we're consuming, then we start losing weight.
Yeah, it's all about that energy balance.
Right, energy balance. So,
But it's not as simple as it sounds.
oh, really?
Because energy balance is not just about how much you eat and how much you exercise.
Okay, so what else is there?
Well, each of us has a unique baseline energy requirement known as our basal metabolic rate, or BMR.
Freedom R. Okay.
And you can think of this as the minimum number of calories your body needs just to function at rest.
So, like, even if I'm just laying on the couch,
Exactly.
my body's still working?
Your heart's beating, your lungs are breathing, your brain is working.
Wow, okay.
And that all requires energy.
So that's why there's no magic calorie number that works for everyone.
Exactly.
It's different for everyone,
Everyone's is a little different
based on...
based on your age, your sex, your height, your weight, even your genetics.
Okay, so how do we know what our BMR is?
Well, there are some online calculators and smartwatches
Oh, cool.
that can give you an estimate of your BMR,
Okay.
but it is important to remember these are just estimates,
Right.
not perfect.
So BMR is kind of like our baseline, and then on top
Mhm.
of that, we need to add...
Yeah, you're going to add calories depending on your activity level.
Okay, that makes sense.
But here's where things get even more interesting.
Okay.
It's not just about the number of calories.
Okay.
It's also about where those calories are coming from.
Right, so this is where we get into
Exactly.
empty calories versus nutrient-dense foods.
Exactly.
Tell me more about that.
So think about this. You could consume 200 calories from a can of soda,
Okay.
or 200 calories from a handful of almonds.
Okay.
Both provide the same amount of energy, but the effects on your body are totally different.
I have a feeling I know where you're going with this.
So the soda, it delivers those 200 calories in a rush of sugar,
Right.
which leads to a quick spike in your blood sugar, followed by a crash.
And then you want more sugar.
And then you feel tired and you crave more. Exactly.
Right, it's a vicious cycle.
Exactly. It is a vicious cycle.
The almonds.
Those 200 calories from almonds, they come packaged with protein, fiber, and healthy fats.
So they keep us fuller for longer.
They do. They provide a more sustained release of energy and keep you feeling fuller longer.
Okay.
And not to mention, they're packed with essential nutrients.
Right.
Magnesium, vitamin E, antioxidants that support your overall health.
Wow, so it's like, okay, if a calorie is like a unit of heat,
Yeah,
you can get a quick burst of flame,
right.
or you can get like a nice slow burn.
Exactly.
They both produce the same amount of energy,
Mhm.
but it's like how you get there.
Exactly. And that difference in how our bodies process these different types of calories
Right.
is really key to understanding
Yeah.
why choosing nutrient-dense foods is so crucial for our health.
Yeah. It's not just about hitting that number on our calorie tracker.
Right.
It's about making sure that the calories are actually like benefiting us.
Exactly. You want those calories to be working for you, not against you.
Right. It's like using better building materials to, build our bodies with.
I love that. Yeah.
So I think we're getting a better picture
Yeah.
of this whole idea of calories.
It's more than just a number.
Right. And how we can use that to figure out how many calories we should be eating.
Exactly.
And we'll be right back after the break to dive deeper into that.
So we've talked about how not all calories are created equal,
Right. It's not just about the number.
and that choosing those nutrient-dense foods is so important.
Okay, but like how do we actually put that into practice
Right.
when we're trying to figure out how many calories to eat?
Yeah, that's the big question.
There's like a lot of information out there. It can be confusing. Like what about those general calorie recommendations you see, like from the USDA?
Right. Yeah, those guidelines are definitely a good starting point,
Okay.
especially if you're new to thinking about your calorie intake.
Yeah.
They give you a general range
Okay.
based on things like your age and your sex and your activity level.
I've seen those charts, but they always seem kind of like oversimplified.
Yeah, they are simplified.
Okay.
And it's important to remember that they're really meant for people who are already at a healthy weight. and looking to maintain that weight.
So they're not for people who are trying to.
Right. They don't take into account things like weight loss or weight gain.
Okay, so say someone wants to lose weight.
Right.
How would they use those guidelines?
So for weight loss, you really want to create a safe and sustainable calorie deficit.
Okay, what does that mean?
So a good rule of thumb is to aim for a deficit of about 500 calories per day,
Okay.
which should lead to a weight loss of roughly 1 to 2 pounds per week.
So this is where that idea of calories in versus calories out comes in.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
But it's really important to emphasize that
Yeah.
this isn't about starving yourself
Nice.
or like drastically cutting calories.
Yeah, I used to think like the less I eat, the faster I'll lose weight.
Right. It seems logical,
right.
but it can actually backfire.
Oh, so.
So when you severely restrict your calorie intake,
Okay.
your body can go into this kind of survival mode,
Oh, wow.
and your metabolism slows down to conserve energy.
To make those calories last longer.
Exactly. And you can even start losing muscle mass,
Oh, that's not good.
which further reduces your calorie burning capacity.
So it's not just about like cutting as many calories as possible. It's
Right.
more like finding this, like Goldilocks zone.
Exactly. Yeah. It's about finding that balance.
Yeah. Okay, so what about people who want to gain weight?
So for weight gain, it's really the same principles as weight loss,
Okay.
just in reverse. So instead of a calorie deficit, you're aiming for a calorie surplus
Okay.
and adding about 250 to 500 extra calories a day can lead to healthy weight gain of about half a pound to a pound per week.
So it's about adding calories, but also focusing on nutrient-dense foods too, I'm guessing.
Exactly. You want to make sure that those extra calories are supporting muscle growth.
Right. You don't want to just gain fat.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered weight loss and weight gain.
Mm-hmm.
What about people who just want to maintain their weight?
Right?
Do they just eat the same number of calories every day?
Well, it's a little more nuanced than that. Because our calorie needs, they aren't static.
Oh.
They can change from day to day
Really?
based on things like how active you are, your stress levels,
Okay.
hormones, even the weather can impact your calorie needs.
Okay, so even if I'm not trying to gain weight or lose weight,
Right.
I might need to adjust my calories from day to day.
Exactly.
How do I know when I need to adjust them?
That's where it becomes about listening to your body,
Okay,
paying attention to your hunger and fullness cues.
so intuitive eating.
Exactly.
Okay, so for people who like to track their calories,
Mm-hmm.
what about like those apps and websites?
Yeah, those can be really helpful tools,
Okay.
especially for increasing your awareness of portion sizes
Yeah, I could use some help with that.
and understanding like the calorie content of different foods.
But we don't want to get too obsessed with it, right?
Right. It's important to use them mindfully
What do you mean?
because it's really easy to get caught up in those numbers
I can see that.
and start obsessing over every single calorie. And that can lead to some anxiety around food
That makes sense.
and even disordered eating patterns.
So, like anything, it's about balance.
Exactly.
If tracking is helpful and you enjoy it, great.
Mm-hmm.
But if it starts becoming stressful,
Right.
you might want to back off.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of general information.
Yeah,
But this calorie thing is really complicated,
it can be.
especially when you factor in like all the individual things.
Exactly. There's so much to consider.
Yeah.
And that's where working with a qualified professional can be really helpful.
Okay, let's talk about that. Okay, so we've learned a lot about calories.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's pretty clear that figuring out like your own personal calorie intake
Right.
is kind of a journey.
It can be tricky, for sure.
Yeah.
There are so many factors to consider.
So let's talk about working with like a professional,
Yeah,
like a registered dietitian.
absolutely. They can be so helpful.
Yeah. So when would it be like especially helpful to work with a dietitian?
Well, if you have any underlying health conditions like diabetes or heart disease,
Okay.
a dietitian can help you tailor your calorie intake and your food choices
Okay.
to manage those conditions effectively.
That makes sense.
They can also help if you have food sensitivities or allergies,
Good.
help you navigate those.
Yeah.
And then, of course, if you're struggling with any kind of disordered eating or you have a history of yo-yo dieting,
Yeah.
a dietitian can be a crucial ally.
So it's not just about the number on the scale.
Exactly.
It's about having a healthy relationship with food.
It's about your whole well-being.
Right. Exactly.
And even if you don't have any specific health concerns,
Okay.
a dietitian can still be a great resource.
Really?
They can help you optimize your nutrition,
Okay.
whether you want to manage your weight, improve athletic performance, or just boost your overall energy.
So it's like having a nutrition coach.
Yeah, it's like having a personalized coach in your corner.
Okay, cool.
They can help you sort through all the confusing information out there.
Yeah, because there's so much.
There's a lot.
And create a plan that works for you.
Exactly. That's tailored to your needs and preferences.
Okay, so if someone wants to work with a dietitian, how do they find one?
Well, you can start by asking your doctor for a referral.
Okay.
You can also check with your insurance provider
Okay.
to see which dietitians are covered by your plan.
Makes sense.
And there are also some great online directories,
Okay.
like the one from the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics,
Okay.
where you can search for registered dietitians in your area.
And is it important to find one that, like, specializes
Oh, absolutely.
in a specific area?
Yeah, just like any healthcare professional.
Okay.
Dietitians have different areas of expertise.
Okay, so like if I'm an athlete?
Yeah, if you're an athlete, you might want to find someone who specializes in sports nutrition.
Oh.
Or if you have diabetes, you might want to look for a certified diabetes educator.
That makes a lot of sense.
So just don't hesitate to ask about their experience and qualifications.
Okay. Yeah,
But
definitely.
when you're interviewing potential dietitians.
I feel a lot more confident about this whole calorie thing now.
I'm glad to hear that. It's great.
It's definitely been helpful.
Yeah, and just remember, it's a journey.
Right.
It's not like a destination.
It's not about perfection.
It's about finding what works for you.
Okay, so for our listeners who are ready to take that next step, what's like one small change they can make today
Oh, that's a great question.
to like start incorporating what we've learned?
Well, I would say swap out one processed snack each day
Okay.
for a piece of fruit or a handful of nuts.
Okay, that's doable.
It's simple, but it can make a big difference
I like it.
over time.
Small changes, big results.
Exactly.
Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive on calories.
It's been great talking with you.
This has been really informative.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, me too.
And to all of our listeners, thank you so much for joining us.
It's been great having you all along for the ride.
We hope you feel empowered to make informed choices.
Yeah, and just remember, there's no one-size-fits-all answer.
Exactly.
It's about figuring out what works for you and your body.
Keep experimenting, keep asking questions, and keep nourishing yourselves.
Yeah, eat those nutrient-rich foods.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, everyone.